Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm just going to talk about the possibility that I'm going to start doing a few recipes, start possibly doing a few demonstrations of some of the recipes that I've done in the past. So I'll get on to that just in a moment. I will put my stats up again for the day and see where things go from there. Okay, be back in a minute. Okay, welcome, and yeah, as I said a little bit earlier, just at the start, I've been thinking about some of the recipes that I've made in the past and whether or not I would have a look at starting to produce some of those on some of my videos. I have to say that they are very basic recipes, but that's just the nature of the program that I'm doing at the moment. But in the meantime, I've put my stats up for the day. They're all looking fairly okay as far as heartbeat, blood pressure and oxygen levels are concerned. And then I've also put up my eating program for yesterday with the new calorie count that I did an adjustment of yesterday. So that looks to be all right. I'm still quite a bit below the levels, so I have got a bit of room to move there, but I'll get on and tweak that a little bit more as I go every day. So with these recipes that I'm looking at doing, I have to, make a statement first. I'm not a cook. I'm not a good cook. I just make do with things that I need for myself, and I will, do a bit of a demonstration on how I get things prepared and what the end result looks like. So I will have a go at doing one tomorrow and seeing how that works out. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was the fact that when you're cooking for yourself, it's often very difficult just to do a meal for one person. So what I'm inclined to do is prepare a meal that's got about 4 or 5 servings in it. And once that meal is prepared, I work out what the calorific value is of that meal altogether, of everything that I put into it. Then when I've finished it, I look at and think, well, okay, there needs to be so many servings out of that. I could probably get 5 servings out of it. And if I divide everything by 5, what's the calorific and energy value going to look at once I've done that? So some of them I've done, I just do like 4 recipes, 4 items in each recipe, so that I've got about 3 to put in the freezer and 1 that I can have that day. There's quite a few that I've done in the past, and it's so good just to be able to go out to the freezer and think, oh, I'll pull that out the freezer and have that tonight, and either just do a little bit of vegetable with it, sort of a bit of carrot or a bit of cauliflower or something, or even just do up a salad to have with it. And it's so easy if you've got the basic meal already cooked and prepared, and all you've got to do is just remember to take it out the freezer in the morning and then pop it into the microwave and let it heat up. The recipes that I'll be doing will be based on that premise, that's what you can do with them, is put them into the freezer, get them all frozen, put them as many as you can get in there, and then as and when you need them, you can take them out and get them thawed. So one of the issues that I had when I first started out with this was that I didn't have a lot of plastic containers to put the food into. I have got quite a number of this type of thing, which is quite big, which is a bit surplus to what I need for the purpose. When you can get one that's a bit smaller like that, that's okay, but it is still too big for one meal. I have some little round containers like that, which I've used in the past, and that's quite good for some of the meals. And there's also these little clip ones, which are very good to use as well. The freezing doesn't hurt them, brings them out, they're all okay, they still work after they've been thawed and even put into the microwave. So those are some of the containers that I've used. That one there's a little bit tiny, but you'll often find something extra that you want a small container for, and those ones there are quite suitable. The other thing that I'm inclined to do is I have got down not far from here, and in New Zealand we've got a lot of shops that import sort of like cheap Chinese stuff, and they're run by Asians, and I don't know whether you have, I think in America I think they call them Dollar Tree or something like that, I'm not sure, but you can buy sets of containers like these where you've got about 4 or 5 and all the lids come with it, and you can get those. Now those are still fairly big, but you know, they serve the purpose. This one here was from a takeaway. I got a kebab with chicken on rice or something like that, and that's a good plastic. It's microwavable, and it is also you can put it into the dishwasher, and with the lid. Those are very good for putting some of the meals into and just putting in the fridge, and the advantage is that they stack very well. And I do get smaller ones like these. Now these ones here also often come with some sort of a takeaway, often from the supermarket. If you get something there and from the deli and they put it into a container, it'll be in something about that size. Also, it's got the little plastic lid. Sorry if that's making a noise on my microphone, but those are really good. The other ones that I get too are little ones like this. These are good little sets. There's several there in a set. You can get these in a set of about 5, and they've all got their little lids. These are really good. Because sometimes you'll have a meal that does have like something separate that you can do and add to it as well as the main meal. So those are all really good. Now I usually have another one too, but I seem to be out of those. The reason being is that I made up a whole lot of vegetable soup just recently, and my daughter and son-in-law were up here for a few days doing a bit of work for me, and I had this great big pot full of vegetable soup. So I said to her, do you want to take some home? So I got all these little containers, which were probably about 2/3 that size, and I bought those in a set as well from the shop, the Asian shop. And I had about 6 or so of those, and I filled those up with this vegetable soup and put them in the freezer. And when my daughter went home, they had all these frozen packs of vegetable soup to take with them. And I did that before. They had been working over in Japan for a few years, and they came back in July last year. And because they were coming back to an empty, cold house with no food, I prepared a whole lot of meals and put in the freezer for them, so that for the first week or so they had plenty of meals all prepared. And that's where a lot of my containers went to. I think she's still got them, but that's not an issue. As I said, you can buy the packs of them. You can get a pack of about 5, something like that, or even a bit bigger. And you can get a pack of 5 for about $6 or something like that. And they're really good, and they, good for putting the meals in. They're good for stacking, good for freezing, good for when you thaw them out, and then they're good for putting in the microwave to reheat again. So that's some of the containers that I get. I try and use as many as that I've got. The only problem is with plastic containers, as we all know, they don't stack very well when you're trying to put them in a cupboard or a drawer. And I've got sort of like an old an old washing basket in the bottom of my pantry, and all my plastic containers go in there. And whenever I want one, I've got to rummage through it and get one out. But there's usually something there that suits. But for this purpose, I keep a lot of them stacked here in the spare room, so that I know when I'm preparing meals, I know exactly where all the containers are. And if you've got a big pantry or a spare room or something like that, it's just good to get a few of the ones that you're going to be using on a regular basis, and keep a supply of them, so that you can just pop the stuff into the freezer. And I always label it. I just get a felt pen while it's still hot, or before I put anything into the container. I'll just get a felt tip pen and write what it is on there. You can usually see what it is anyway, but I always put the date on it, the date that I actually put it in there, so that when I do get a bit of a surplus in there, I can make sure that I'm using the older stuff first. So that's a little bit of a tip. Especially, it depends on what sort of freezer you've got, whether you've got a chest freezer or whether you've got an upright freezer. Uprights aren't so hard because you can sort of see everything, at each level. When you've got a chest freezer, you're inclined to put stuff into it, and everything that gets down the bottom seems to stay there for an indefinite period. So fortunately, I've only got a small upright freezer, so that serves the purpose for what I want. So tomorrow, hopefully, I'm going to get into the kitchen and I shall prepare a meal. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm looking first possibly at the potatoes that are put into a microwave and cooked whole, and then they're split open and filled up with stuff, chicken and gravy and things like that. I've done those in the past and they are really, really good to just pull out of the freezer and heat up. So I've just got to get some chicken tomorrow. So if I've got that all done, I'll try and get that one filmed tomorrow and see how it goes. It'll probably be a disaster as far as filming is concerned because I've never done it before. But never mind, this is all part of the journey, and it's all part of learning and all part of the progress that I'm making as I go on this journey. And when you've got the meals there, the thing that I find is so good is that it keeps you on track. It's so hard I shouldn't say that, it's so easy when you've got nothing prepared for a meal and you get to the end of the day and you think, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? And you grab the nearest thing that you can find, which often isn't a good choice. So with having pre-prepared meals in the freezer, it'll often help you through that struggle of eating the wrong thing at the wrong time. So anyway, that's just a heads up on what I'm going to be hopefully getting underway tomorrow. So yeah, that's basically it from me for tonight, and I shall get this uploaded and off onto the YouTube, and I shall see everybody tomorrow. So in the meantime, stay safe and take care. Okay, bye-bye.